Hello and welcome. My name is Peace Mitchell and I'm co-founder of Women Changing the World Press. Before we begin, I would like to pay my respects to the traditional owners and elders of the land that I live and work on, the people of Mamu country in North Queensland. And I would also like to pay my respects to traditional owners and elders, past and present, right across Australia and the Torres Strait. While I'm excited to be here today, we're launching our new book, Women Living Fearlessly. This book features the stories of 25 incredible women from all around the world who are sharing their stories of living fearlessly. And I'm so excited to have one of my fabulous fellow co-authors joining me today. Please join me on stage, Dr. Dale.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Peace. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so exciting to have you here, Dale. Dale, for people who haven't met you before, I would love you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the work that you do.
Absolutely. My name is Dr. Dale Laing-Hall. Over 17 years in human resources, and after 17, working 17 years in corporate America, mostly healthcare field, I decided, to pursue my doctoral degree, doctorate in business administration, where I focus my research on the concept of emotional intelligence and its benefits on employees, people in the workplace. So as a result of that, I got an urge, I got a dream, I got a nudge, and I decided to, start my own consultant agency, leadership development around the concept of emotional intelligence. And it's been making some awesome changes, amazing transformation with leaders personally, professionally, from leadership development, the skills, their, inspirational, their personal life stories, self-awareness, communication skills. So I'm excited about it. It's going on 2 years now. So I just can't wait to see where this is gonna go, because I'm nowhere near shape done.
I love that, Dale. I love it so much. Now, Dale, your title is Significantly Seen, Empowering Self and Others. Can you tell us why you chose this title for your story?
I wanted to it's my story because I didn't see myself. I other people other I was looking at what everybody else was doing in my life growing up, what everybody else was telling me what to do and how to live and what to want, and what to think, and I just did not see myself. And every single endeavor that you put out into, that you decide to do, you have to decide first. Love you, know you, understand who you are, because everything else is built on that. Everything. And I just wish somebody else told that to me, because I just, so many things that came along with that. And not just see yourself, significantly really look skin deep in on who you are and what you are not.
I love that. I love that. And in your chapter, you talk about this more, and you say, at one point, I was that fearful of speaking to people in power, I didn't believe I was worth anyone's time. Can you tell us about this?
Yes, that is very much skin deep, right? That is me being in a corporate America, as you start your career, and you're trying to figure out who you are, and all the do's and don'ts in the workplace, and climbing that ladder and trying to, break the glass ceiling and just growing into yourself and your career. I slowly started to realize that I wasn't accepted anywhere. I was told to do this and then not do this. Smile here, don't smile here. They're gonna take you. As I became a manager, as I became a director, and then a VP, I slowly started trying to figure out where is it that because every single where I go, somebody has an issue with how I am presenting myself. So I just got totally confused, didn't know where I belong, and slowly but surely I had to get quiet. I had to block out all of the noise. But not before I had to, before all of that noise had to be blocked out, I made so many mistakes. I made, hurting myself, all that negative self-talk, uh,
Mhm.
not knowing what my, who I was. So that way it allowed other people to tell me who I was. And then when I look back on my decisions, then, to some degree, I would regret it because that wasn't the best version of who I wanted to be in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a shame that you spent all of that time not feeling able to speak up and speak out because you have so much to share and so much to say. In your chapter, you talk about the turning point that came for you. You say you talk about when you saw a girl crying in the car park, and that was a turning point moment for you. Can you tell us about this moment and why it was so significant for you in your journey?
Because she was helpless. She felt helpless. And because she felt helpless, I had a family member and I had a disagreement, and somehow I ended up at a McDonald's restaurant, and I went and I sat at this McDonald booth in this chair, and there was, while me going through my own issue in my head, just minding my business, I saw this girl in front of me, and I kept on seeing people come. I guess I realized afterwards she worked there because she had on the clothes for McDonald's and everything. And everybody came. There were coworkers that would come and speak to her, and then they would leave. And then I started getting a little bit nosy, listening, somebody else's conversation. And I heard the coworker that came and spoke to her and said apparently she was waiting on a ride. And I was there already at that at McDonald about 4 hours, and all that time she was sitting there. I found her there. So realizing, I said, "Oh, she's waiting on a ride." Apparently, her sister was supposed to come pick her up. She never came to pick her up, and she just didn't have any other way. And I was there in my funk. My problem or my issue that I had at the time with my family member was nowhere near what she was going through. And I started to see tears come down her, her face. And that really spoke to me in that moment because, it reminded me of this quote from John Maxwell. And it just one thing led to another. I was like, why am I trying to make everybody else around me happy? Why I just need to just stop and just stop listening to the outside voices and listen to my inside voice. And just one thing led to the other, and it just connected for me perfectly. And I said, why I'm trying to make all of these big changes or do all these things to make other people happy, but it wasn't making me happy. And speaking to my truth, and it wasn't speaking to who I was. So I just, that moment just clicked for me, and I saw her, I connected with her. I said, "Do you mind? Can I help?" And she's like, "Absolutely." She started crying even more. And she just broke down, and she started giving me a little bit more her story. And I just got, and I helped in where I could, and I got her an Uber ride, and we're friends now, right? But it just spoke to me in a very special way that we're trying to do such big things in the world when we can make a difference right where we are.
Mm. I love that. I love that. Like it's such a simple thing. We can make a difference. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be helping one person to get to where they need to go. And
100%.
also, we don't need to listen to everyone else's opinion on it. We just know in our heart what needs to happen, and we can trust that and follow that.
Yeah.
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 You talk about emotional intelligence in your chapter. Can you
Yeah.
tell us what emotional intelligence is and why it's so important to you?
Emotional intelligence saved my life. It saved my life. Research backs it up, and you guys interested to go do the research on it. But emotional intelligence, what it is understanding, managing, being able to use your emotions in an intelligent way, right? And then taking that action and making sure that you are treating yourself the best, to the best of your ability. It covers self-awareness, it covers your social skills, self-regulation, it covers empathy, understanding other people's perspective, not only yours. So the very first step in emotional intelligence is your self-awareness. Self-awareness says, and that's my favorite, because it allows you to see you first. See yourself first, understand who you are, your likes, your dislikes, your weaknesses, what speaks to you, what doesn't speak to you. That inner self talk, that self discovery, it allows you to go on a stroll and discover who you are. In other words, like to date yourself. We I didn't I didn't grow up with, with people around me telling me, just listen to yourself, listen to your inner voice, and it's going to tell you what to do. I wish I had it, but I didn't have it. And because I didn't have it, I listened to a lot of other voices around me, right? And that caused me to, the more I didn't listen to myself, the more I put myself on the back burner. And
Mhm.
it allowed me to trust everybody else around me instead of trusting myself. Trust and respect and love and care for everybody else, but not myself. And that self emotional intelligence helped me to bring, like, love myself, hug myself first, understand who I am, so that way I can go in as a leader in these workspaces, home spaces, and show up as my best self. Your emotions and how you show up wherever you are, your emotions, you're going to take them wherever you are. The point is that in every situation, are you being as honest, are you being as, transparent, intelligent with how you are exemplifying your emotions? If you're mad about something, that is going to show in every relationship that you are in, every interaction. How are you trying to figure out that frustration? You need to be able to break that down and be able to understand that emotional intelligence, your emotions, or they say that emotions are, they're messengers. They're letting you know what's going on inside of you, and it's a message that you need to answer the call. So answering the call, how do you answer the call? Right? That's where sometimes it gets a little foggy. Once you identify, oh, I am angry right now, now what do you do with that? That's where we sometimes get, and that's the second step of emotional intelligence, self-regulation. Regulate
Mhm.
how you show up, right? And when you regulate that, then you're able to control, manage it, right? Not yell at someone because somebody's yelling at you. You don't yell back. That tells me, I am going to control and manage how I'm feeling right now, because I don't want to be acting out in these streets, right? You want to be able to show up as your best self, and your best self is not frustration, and it's not anger, and it's not stress, and it's none of that. It's just you being in control of you at all times, kind of like at a reset at all times.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So powerful, really is, being in
Yeah,
control of your emotions and how
yeah,
you're feeling, and really being intentional about how you're showing up in the world. Yeah,
yeah,
so important. So
a
important.
100%.
You shared some really beautiful quotes through your chapter, Dale. One of them that I love is, living fearlessly means stepping out of the shadows and into the light. Isn't that just a beautiful quote? Can you tell us a bit more about this quote of living fearlessly and stepping out of the shadows and into the light?
Step out of the shadows of other people's voice and what other people want. I stood so many years in the shadows of previous bosses that told me, "God, we don't need that. We don't need you can sit down in a corner. You don't need to add anything to this conversation." So many spaces with, people I thought was my friend that were, putting me down when I didn't even know they were putting me down. They were, pretending to be something. I didn't listen to my inner being. I didn't listen to my inner voice. And that caused me to step, to be behind the shadow, to constantly put myself last and not listen to myself. I am saying emotional intelligence is saying, see yourself, come out of the shadows, speak your truth, speak your truth. And sometimes we get confused and say, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to, give that person a piece of my mind. You don't have to. You can show them love and still speak your mind, but speak your mind with love. Speak your mind with, like, with tact. Yeah, and speak your mind with care. You don't have to be, acting all out. Show up as your best self and let that shadow go, because that shadow is only holding you back. Everybody else's voice and what they have to say, it doesn't matter. It's your own that you need to check in with first.
I love that so much. And yeah, absolutely. We should be showing up as our best self and speaking up for ourselves, stepping out of the darkness and showing up as the light. It's really
Yeah,
beautiful.
we don't do enough of that at all. We just don't.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, Dale. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. And thank you so much for your chapter in Women Living Fearlessly. I know that our readers are going to find this so inspiring and so helpful as well. You've really included some really practical strategies in there for people to use. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Well, that concludes our session, but make sure you grab your copy of Women Living Fearlessly at wcwpress.com, and we will see you all again very soon. Thanks so much, Dale, and thanks everyone for tuning in.